Hey coin collectors, and welcome to the Big D Coin Channel. And this is the Roosevelt dime from 1986. And we have all three of the different mint marks here. We have the P, the D, and the S. And you're looking at that one up there and you're saying, that's a funny looking P. This was actually kind of over punched. And why don't we actually start with that? Both these are, you can get some relatively valuable coins here. If you look at this one, it's kind of set back this way a little bit. So you see the 6 almost touches. That's a little bit close to the rim. And you see a little tiny bit of doubling up here in the front. Not enough to make it a huge difference, but what's interesting on this coin is that P right there. And it was punched so hard that it actually made a huge dent in the coin. And usually you see a little tiny bit of a dent, but not usually that big. And you can kind of see how it kind of swings around there too. Sometimes if you look at these, you can actually see a little tiny bit of a dent in the back, but I'm not really seeing that on this one. So this is a Denver Mint coin from 1986. At the Denver Mint in 1986, they made 473 million of these. 473 million. So essentially $47 million worth. There are still a lot of them out there. It says Liberty in front of Franklin D. Roosevelt. In God we trust under his chin. Way down here we see a J and an S. And that's for John Sinnock. S-I-N-N-O-C-K, the engraver of these coins. These coins first came out in 1946, the year after Franklin Roosevelt died. And we see that as a copper nickel clad copper. It was silver, 90% silver, until 1964, and then it switched over to a copper nickel clad copper. If we get it to the back, and you'll see why I said initially these are three of the best coins you'll ever see, or I've ever seen, with these kind of grades. United States of America, it says at the top, E pluribus unum across here, 1 dime, and you can see that the very clear, a little tiny bit of a die crack in there on the bottom of the A, but it doesn't really give it any additional value. We see that the oak sprig over here has an acorn on it here, an acorn here. We see a couple olives on the olive sprig on this side. And then we look in the center and we see pretty close to a full bands version of this. And what you do when you want to value these coins is you look at the lines going down and see if they go fully down all the way. You look at these bands here, this one at the top and this one down here at the bottom, and see if you can see a separation between the two. In the top, it's very good. On the bottom, it's okay, but probably MS65 or more okay. What would that mean? Well, it probably means that this is worth probably $3 to $5, depending. It would cost a little bit more than that to get it graded, but it's certainly a coin that we are going to keep around. And even if it's just because of that punch, because every time I see that punch, I kind of wonder, and you can see there's a little tiny bit of a hole down there. They actually broke the coin a little bit when they punched it. See that little hole? That's because they punched it so hard it actually broke through the outside coating. So it looks like a P with a dot or a period after it. P dot. Now, so that's from the Philadelphia Mint. Did I say the Denver Mint? Well, I meant the Philadelphia Mint. This one here is from the San Francisco Mint, and this is the definition of a cameo. So this is a proof coin at the San Francisco Mint in 1986. They made 3.362 million of them. This is worth a minimum of $4, but in this cameo view that you can see here, and see how he just pops off, and see how that's so mirror-like there. Say everything else is the same. It still says Liberty in God we trust. The S really fine here, right over the 6 for the 1986, and then a J and an S down there, and they did not overpunch this S. Now in this one, when we get to the back of it, you will see that this is as close as the other one to a full bands version, but the back of it is just amazingly beautiful, with these cameo kind of colors coming off of it. And finally we have the D, and I'm not sure which one I said first, but at Philadelphia they made 682 million. At Denver they made 473 million. And so they made about 1. or 1.2 billion of these total, or $120 million worth. Liberty in front, the same thing. We can kind of see a little bit of a chip in the ear, but not too bad. The In God We Trust is really nice, John Sinek. The D for Denver, tip it up. And then on the back of this one, you can see what a non-full bands version looks like. So the top bands look pretty good. Actually, it's a little interesting there because it almost looks like the bands don't go all the way across, but they do. I think that's just a light. But down to bottom, you see there's no separation between those bands right above the tip of this pointer. So this will not be a full bands version, but it's still a beautiful coin. This coin's probably worth $3 to $4 in this shape, probably $3. This cameo could be worth 10 or more, depending on how much somebody wants to collect it. It's not worth spending 10 or more to get it valued, I don't think, at PCGS. So it would just have to be somebody who really wanted it, who could look at it and decide themselves. And then, of course, we have this Philadelphia coin here. Let's move over there, Les. We have the Philadelphia coin here, which is in just magnificent shape on the front and the back. And it has a little doubling of the rim, the breakthrough a little bit on the mint mark. So this is probably worth 10 or more dollars too. All right, well, that's all we have today from DC Coin World. Look for the dimes. Dimes are probably the most collectible in terms of you being able to buy them of any of the coins. For some reason, people do not pay huge premiums on a dime, on the Roosevelt dime, and so you can get really, really good quality dimes, MS65 often for sometimes under $2. So look for them out there. Collectors don't collect them as much, but they're beautiful coins.